Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Thursday, June 16th, 2016. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Joined on Thursday, as always, by Steve Wiltfong, Director of Recruiting for 24/7 Sports. Steve, how are you this fine morning?
Good morning, Daniel. Gearing up for Game 6 tonight. I know Bucknuts fans are rooting for Cleveland. I am as well. I root for LeBron. I root for dynasties, and, I was the guy, if the Cubs weren't going to win the World Series, I wanted the Yankees to win as many as possible. I just like living in eras where, I saw it happen. LeBron's been to, 6 straight finals now. I'd like to see him win a few more of them. And, so hoping that they can win Game 6. Golden State without Andrew Bogut tonight, I think that's huge. I'm just kidding. But it is an interesting storyline because I think Bogut's a presence for them on the defensive end and around the rim, and so we'll see.
Yeah, the Bogut loss.
People don't care about our basketball analysis, Daniel.
Sure they do, and it's not. We're in charge. The thing I'd be concerned about with Bogut is just who's going to play those extra 15 minutes, not the fact that he's not playing. But we shall see. If Kyrie and LeBron can go for 70 points and shoot close to 50%, I think they got a shot. But we digress, which means you got to drink. People following along with the drinking game, let's hope you're getting ready here on a Thursday morning. We're going to talk about plenty of things, but first we're going to allow Steve, not to gloat, but to bask in the fact that he had Tate Martell crystal ball to Ohio State well in advance of many others when it was still a star-studded affair. He was getting recruited. There were some Texas guys who flipped him, we understand, to troll the Texas A&M guys. But in terms of a legitimate 24/7 brain power aspect, you were the first one to go with Martell. So it had to be nice to kind of see him verbally commit.
Well, the nation's number one dual-threat quarterback, arguably the best high school football player in the country the last 2 years. I mean, Tate's just really, really been a great player. Bishop Gorman, they're 30-0 when he's the starter. He threw for 40 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions as a sophomore. That was a great team. Came back last year, threw for another 32, so that's 72 touchdowns in 30 games. He's just, a terrific high school player. The game's moving in slow motion. But Ohio State really, pulled out in front on that visit and got good intel that they were out in front and took the lead for them. And, there was some buzz that maybe Kellen Mond could have beat him into the boat. And I don't know if that accelerated the process for Tate or not. Maybe it did, because Tate was talking about taking his time. But I thought the whole time Ohio State was the clear leader. It was just a matter of, would Kellen Mond do something to surprise me and jump in the boat for the Buckeyes before Tate did? Now, I'm not sure Ohio State ever led for Kellen, but they were certainly in the discussion and in the top 3. But Tate Martell wants to play on the biggest stage. I talked to Steve Clarkson, the national quarterback guru, Martell's personal quarterbacks coach, and Clarkson's one of the true national guys that I actually give credit to. Some of these other guys, I think, like to take credit for finished products. I think Steve Clarkson's been with a lot of these kids before we knew who they were. He's worked with Tate Martell a long time, and he just talks about what a fierce competitor he is. And I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen Tate, get after it on the 7-on-7 field. I've certainly watched Bishop Gorman games. He's a great team player. The way he carries himself off the field, and then he's all business when he's on the field. Off the field, he's not afraid to mix it up and, talk trash if need be with Texas high school football players about who the better team is. He'll mix it up with ease on social media, but when the pads are on, he's focused and he's ready to go. So Ohio State landing arguably the best high school football player the last 2 years. Now, I don't know how his game translates when you start talking NFL, but his game translates. He certainly could be a great player at Ohio State. That's all that Urban Meyer, the staff, and the Bucknuts readers care about.
Yeah, my guess is they tapped into his desire to be somewhat of a Pied Piper for the rest of the class. He even had a post about possible receiving. Correct?
I've never seen anything like it as far as a lightning rod in a recruiting class. I mean, Tate Martell is arguably the most popular guy in this class. And I think, he's got a shot to really help Ohio State close on some of these big names. Ohio State was in on those guys before Tate committed. But Tate's going to be a presence in recruiting these guys. Anywhere Tate goes, he's kind of the show. And the other guys feel his presence and want to be around it. And seems like, these top prospects like Tate a lot. And, the opportunity to play with them is an exciting one.
Speaking of quarterback recruiting, Ohio State had a class of 2018 top target Emory Jones on campus yesterday, the Georgia native, was in camp throwing for the team. You can read Bill Kurlick's report on that. But the Buckeyes aren't done in Georgia. There's some buzz about them being down in Atlanta today.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my best friends, Vaughn McClure, who covers the Falcons for ESPN, called me yesterday night and was talking about the buzz of Urban Meyer coming down there, and everyone's talking about it. And we've talked about it so many times. If Urban Meyer's somewhere, he is the show. And that's even if Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh are there. I just think that Urban Meyer attracts a different kind of attention when he walks in the room. And so it's a big deal that he's going to be down there, and then he's going to make his way to St. Thomas Aquinas, where Trayvon Grimes goes. I've long thought Trayvon Grimes is going to be a Buckeye. I'm not the only one to feel that way. I'd say everybody in the industry feels that way. So they'd like to land top 247 receiver, Trayvon Grimes. Back to Emory Jones real quick. This tells you everything you need to know about Emory Jones, who's obviously one of the elite quarterbacks, one of the highest ranked quarterbacks by 24/7 Sports in 2018. He's in our top 100. School's recruiting Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence, for Ohio State readers, you may not be as familiar with him because Ohio State hasn't really pursued him, but he's been the number one. He's going to be the number one player in the 18 class from start to finish. College coaches absolutely rave about him and his upside, and really him right now. He's just the total package. He's a big-time guy. There are schools that offered Emory Jones and Lawrence that would have taken Emory Jones' commitment before Lawrence was ready to decide. That's how good Emory Jones is. Ohio State, him telling Bill Kurlick that Ohio State was his leader, that's big time. He's got huge upside. He's a big-time guy now.
It's just incredible if they get him, to get Dwayne Haskins, Tate Martell, and Emory Jones back to back to back. I'd have to go back and look it up to get a historical perspective on that.
Historically, Emory Jones wouldn't be competing with all those guys because then there's attrition, as you know. But yeah, it would be insane.
I'm just saying, not to interrupt, but I'm just saying, in terms of a college program bagging 3 quarterbacks in 3 consecutive classes of that ilk, not very common.
No question.
So it's impressive. But speaking of bagging incredible class, Steve and I have been talking about this for a while. So I went to the class calculator for the class of 2017.
24/7 Sports class calculator, baby.
Sorry, the 24/7 Sports class calculator, cha-ching. And I just punched in the recruits that Steve Wiltfong has crystal ball to Ohio State. And we came out to 19. They currently have 13 commits. Came out to 19. And then because the general belief among Bucknuts cognoscentes probably average out to a 20-man class, we had Steve pick the next guy he would think is most likely to be crystal ball to Ohio State, and that was Baron Brown. So we punched all of them into the
just
class.
to throw in like the number 8 player in the country per 24/7 Sports composite.
Right on. In fact, we punched all those players in. Now, noteworthy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The remaining guys, despite Ohio State being well out in advance of everybody, well out ahead in the recruiting class, 5 of the 7 guys, the guys we named, 1, 2, 3, 5 of them, of the 7 we'd had, would be in the top 7 of Ohio State's recruiting class right now. And it would give them a total score of 314.86. Now, everyone who knows the class calculator knows you have to have, it also measures number of commits. So there's an accumulation score, but the average per recruit would be the highest. And if you look at last year, so Ohio State would have 314.86. You get all these guys with 20 commits. Last year, Alabama was number 1, had 309 points with 24 commits. Okay? The greatest class of all time had 30 kids in it and 323. So you could make an argument if Ohio State gets these 7 dudes that it will be the greatest recruiting class of all time. Now, that means coming in. When we were discussing the show, we started comparing to the Ezekiel Elliott class. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking just on the way in, this could be the greatest class ever.
Yeah, preseason recruiting rankings. Ohio State's going to probably turn away some damn good players in this cycle. You know, they're going to fill up on some elite guys, and then they're going to have to tell another elite guy, hey, we don't got a spot for you.
Haskell Garrett is the 12th ranked player in the class of the Galleys guys, and his rating is 96.84. Amir Reed, the guy they're going after, that everyone would be the 14th rated recruit in the class. It's outlandish. Have you ever seen, since you've been doing this, a class that could be this good player for player?
Well, the thing that I am most excited about when you're talking to Ohio State is you just know they're evaluating well. You know, I mean, it's to the point now where they seem to be such a well-oiled machine inside the Woody that the guys that they're recruiting the hell out of, yeah, they're ranked high, but you know they're good. Like some of these guys ranked high are false flaggers. They're not going to be that good in college. We even kind of know it, you know. But Ohio State, they're pushing hard for a guy. I would say 8 times out of 10, that kid's going to be pretty damn good.
Yep. No, their hit rate has been incredible, too. So when you factor all that in, I think it even makes the argument stronger, no?
Right, no doubt. You know, and I think, you know, you point to that Florida class. That was an Urban Meyer class, and I think they had some bucks in there. I don't have
30 dudes, though.
Right, but the bell cows. I think the bell cows were like Ronald Powell, you know. I think Urban Meyer and his staff have really fine-tuned what they've done. And obviously they won 2 national titles at Florida, so I just almost swore. So hell, they did a great job down there. But they're even fine-tuning it in Columbus. I think so it's an even better product here, you know. So they're going to win another title at Ohio State. It's just a matter of when.
That's a great place to end it. I think it'll make everybody happy. We appreciate Steve taking some time today. Hope everyone didn't get too hammered. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Take care, Daniel. Everybody, see you.